Life can feel overwhelming when you don't have a plan, especially when you're getting ready to make some big changes. What if 2025 could be the year that you finally break through? In this episode, I'm going to show you a simple plan to design your dream life. You are going to learn how to focus your energy, cut through distractions, and take confident steps towards your goals. If you've been waiting for clarity, this is your chance to really map out how you want your life to be. So let's take control of your year and let's get started. Welcome back to Be Unafraid podcast. My name is Fortune. I know what it feels like to be stuck and to feel stuck without a clear direction. And after many years of balancing a high-pressure career with my own personal goals and development, I finally learned a simple system that actually works. And I'm going to share that with you today and how you can apply it in your life and build the life that you love. That is what we're going to do in part 3 of this 3-part series, and I will guide you through that plan. If you missed part 1, where I dive into the 10 life lessons from my own personal life that can help you move forward in your life if you feel stuck in some areas, and part 2, where I shared with you the 4 principles that I use to crush my goals and how you can use those principles to crush your own goals in 2025. The episodes are linked in the description below. Subscribe to be notified for my future content. Let's dive right in. So, working in the big tech industry, these big technology companies understand how to create projects. They understand how to deliver products and value to the customer. And that is because a lot of them incorporate the philosophy and principles of working backwards. They understand what their customers want, and they work backwards from that to then create the products and create the services that their customers want so that they deliver the right thing to the customer. So I'm taking those same principles and philosophies of working backwards in the business world and now applying that same principle to your life and looking at your own life as if it were a company or as if it were a customer and creating a work back plan where you're now going to reverse engineer where you want to go and reverse engineer exactly how you're going to get there. So step 1 in this framework to creating your dream vision is to identify the end goal. It's to identify what do you want your life to look like at the end of 2025, and we're going to work backwards from there. Visualize the life you want. Think about when 2025 ends, at the end of the year, who do you want to be? What do you want your life to look like? And the 4 major areas that I recommend that you hone in on is your career, your health, your relationships, and personal growth. And we're going to dive into each one of those. So let's start with the career, because this is where a lot of people spend a lot of their time on and a lot of their thoughts and energy go to their career. Write 3 to 5 bullet points about your dream career. At the end of 2025, where do you want your career to be? Think for a second at the version of you in 2025 and at the end of the year. Do you want to feel fulfilled in your career? Do you want to be promoted to that role that you've been thinking about in your career? Do you want to have a different job in your career? Do you want to move into leadership into that career? So write 3 to 5 things. 3 if you can, 5 if you can. I feel fulfilled in my career. I have increased my pay in my career. I am in a job that I actually enjoy waking up for and going to work for. I am in a job where I enjoy working with my coworkers and I love my manager, right? So start to write those things and start to visualize those things and seeing those things happening for you at the end of the year. Take this same approach and apply it to the other areas. So number 2, we said health. At the end of the year, my health is strong. My body is strong. I have lost 10 pounds. I've lost 15 pounds, 20 pounds. I'm eating healthy most of the time. I'm running. I am able to run a certain amount of miles. I'm able to weight train a certain amount of weight. I am able to do this thing in mixed martial arts, right? Get really specific. Write down everything you want about your health and jot those things down. Then apply that to relationships. What do you want your relationships to look like? Do you want your relationships with your friends to improve? Your relationships with your family or your significant other to improve? What exactly about those relationships do you want to improve? Write those things down as well. And then take the same approach to personal growth. Personal growth is now talking about you, the person, personal growth. What skills do you want to develop? Where do you want to improve in your area? Do you want to improve your mindset? Do you want to improve your confidence? Do you want to develop courage in order to be able to jump into things that you're afraid of? Do you want to confront fear? Do you want to be a person who is not afraid? The name of this podcast, Be Unafraid. By the way, there's a reason that I picked that name for the podcast, and that is because that is something I aspire to be. So for me, that is one of the 3 to 5 things that I write down for personal growth, is a person who is not afraid. Next thing you need to do is to create a very simple mission statement around those things. By the end of 2025, I will achieve X so I can Y. Take your career, for example. I will get that promotion so that I can make more money and my family can take more vacations and we can bond and grow together and have even more experiences. That is a goal that is meaningful. That is a goal that has emotion. That is a goal that will probably get you excited and make you want to get that promotion, right? Because you're going to get all of these other things with that. You can apply the same mission statement to even your health. By the end of 2025, I will lose 10 pounds so that I can run in the marathon that I want to run in next year. I will lose 10 pounds so that I can be able to last longer in dance class or in mixed martial arts in my case. So when you set that one mission statement for your career, your health, your relationships, and your personal growth, it now gives you a destination that you're going to. And it's not just a goal that people usually set at the beginning of every year that I'm going to work out more, right? These are things that people do for 2 weeks and then they're done. There's a reason why gyms make a lot of money at the beginning of the year and they're packed, and it's actually miserable for people like me that like to go to the gym the first 3-4 weeks of the year. But then something interesting happens. It goes back to normal. A lot of those people go back home. They still pay for the gym membership, but they never show back up again. It's because the goals that they set are not things that are actually emotional. They're not things that are actually tied to a vision and a mission and something greater than just them. So when you set this one mission statement for these 4 categories, it will make you fired up to want to do those things because now there's value. There's a reason why you want to do that thing. So step 2 in this plan is to work backwards. It's to put that gear in reverse and to start reverse that car backwards. This is what I talked about earlier with how the big tech companies create products for their customers. They know what their customer want, and then they work backwards to create that thing. And that's exactly what you're going to do with your own life. So look back into each one of those major 4 categories, your career, health, relationships, as well as your personal growth and development. Now take each one of those areas and take each goal that you have underneath that area and ask yourself, what are the 3 major things or the 3 primary drivers that you need to do today, that you need to do every single day or however many times a week in order for you to become that goal that you wrote down? in order for you to accomplish that mission statement that you wrote down for each one of those categories, what are the 3 things that you need to do? So if we think of an example that in my career, I want to start a side hustle, and I say that by the end of 2025, I'm going to launch a side hustle because I want to make extra side of income so that I can take more vacations this year with my family and not have to worry about spending money or putting money on credit cards and getting into more debt. Take that example and now think, for me to start a side hustle in the next 12 months, what are the 3 things that I need to do? Number 1, I need to do some research, figure out what side hustles are actually out there available, and do I have the skill sets to do those side hustles? Number 2, if I don't have the skill set, what can I learn? What am I passionate about? What am I most likely going to stick with in those next 12 months? And how do I build those skill sets? And then number 3 is to actually launch the side hustle. Those are the 3 steps that you're going to take. Now that you know those 3 steps, you're actually more inclined to take action and actually move forward in accomplishing that goal that you set because it matters to you. And same thing, you can apply it across the health pillar of the 4 different characteristics that you're going to take. If you want to lose 10 pounds, then your first goal is to research and say that I need to eat better foods, right? That's the first step. Second step, I need to work out more. That's third number step. And then fourth step is I need to create a consistent gym schedule that I can actually stick to and do every single day. So you have steps to accomplish that particular goal, and that's going to drive your mission forward. So take some time to do that exercise for each of those 4 categories that we talked about. One thing that you can do to really make sure that you're driving this mission forward, right? That you don't fall into the trap of making goals at the beginning of the year and then 2 months into it, you're back to just doing your normal things and you're not actually doing your goals. In order to prevent that from happening, you need to create these systems in place and these audit checks in place where one of the things that I like to do is every quarter I review where I am and I benchmark to see how much have I done from the first month to the third month, right? If I'm looking at the first quarter. So I like to split up my quarters into 4 different segments where the first quarter is I'm going to build foundational habits. So if I'm looking to launch a business, the first quarter for me is going to be all about learning the business. It's going to be learning marketing, learning sales, learning content creation, whatever I need to learn, that's going to be in the first quarter. The second quarter is going to be where I start to expand and I start to grow and I start to implement and take action, right? And at the end of that quarter, I will look back, I'll look and see where I am and see how far I need to go. And that will tell me and give me a good idea as to where I'm at. Third quarter is really where I like to gain momentum. And this is where that engine starts to churn and that car starts to move and you start to get those small wins. You're starting to see progress. If you're starting a business, maybe you're starting to get some sales. If you're creating content, you're getting views, you're getting subscribers. That third quarter is a momentum, and I do a momentum check at the end of the third quarter. And in the fourth quarter, it's about finishing strong and reflecting on how far I've come, being appreciative of how far I've come, being grateful of how far I've come. And I talked about being grateful in my 10 life lessons video. That's linked right up here if you want to check that out. So having a theme every quarter of something you're going to focus on that audits your goals is really key because it's going to keep you in check. It's going to expose when you're slacking. It's going to expose when you're not getting things done. I have had quarters where I've looked back and said, man, this was a building foundational skills quarter. I was supposed to read these 3 to 5 books on marketing and I only read 1. Well, why is that? So that will allow you to start to dive deep and really, really fix that and get going. Step 3 in this life plan is to focus on your primary drivers. I talk about this principle a lot, and we covered this in part 2, where we talked about outworking and how successful people and top performers outwork people around them, but they not only outwork and put hours in, they outwork by focusing on primary drivers. And it makes them seem like they're superhuman when you look at them and you wonder, how in the world are they performing at such a high level? How do they have so much time to get so much stuff done? How are they accomplishing these big things? And I'm sitting over here putting in hours and hours and hours, and I feel like I'm not getting anywhere. That question irked me so much that I started to really research into how these successful people get things done. And Donald Miller, who is the CEO of StoryBrand and Business Made Simple, really put it very nice for me. And he said that successful people know how to focus. They know how to work on the primary drivers. They take their goal and then they work backwards from their goal like we're doing right now. But they identify the 5, 10, 15 things that really drive that goal forward, things that actually make that goal move. And what they do is they take it, they narrow it down to 3 things that they focus on. And Donald talks about how the human brain is designed to survive and to thrive. When the human brain is presented with more than 3 options, it actually starts to look for ways to conserve energy. So you start to check out, you start to think about something else, you start to think about really fun things, your brain goes somewhere else. So when you really just hone in on 3, you're able to really sharpen and your brain's able to really focus and say, okay, I have these 3 things that I need to get done. I can get those things done. So that is what this step 3 is all about, is now to take your goals, work backwards, create the list of things that you're going to do to accomplish your goal. For each one of those categories, your career, your relationships, your health, and your personal development, now create 3 primary drivers that you're going to focus on. And once you complete those 3 things, you just replace it with another 3. That's how the system works. And spend time each and every single day looking at those 3 big ticket items that you're going to be working on, and you'll be shocked at how much progress you've made 6 months from now. And one thing that I love to do is take this principle of your primary tasks and creating the 3 primary tasks that drive your mission forward, is to take those 3 things, narrow it down to 1. The reason why I narrow it down to 1, and I call that the big 1, is because for people that are working full-time jobs and are trying to build something on the side, it's very difficult to get a whole bunch of things done. 1, because of time. Number 2, because of energy. You spend so much time at work that sometimes you don't have the energy to even sit down and work on 10 different things. So you end up procrastinating it and not actually getting things done. And then years go by and you still wonder why your dreams are not coming true. But when you decide that I'm going to write down 1 thing that I'm going to do, 1 primary thing, not side tasks, not checking emails, not working on that logo, but 1 primary thing that's going to move the mission forward. And I'm going to do that today, in the morning, in the evening. And then when I finish that, I'm going to identify the next one and do that tomorrow, do it the day after tomorrow, a week, 4 weeks, 3 months, 6 months go by. You're going to be shocked at how much you have progressed. And this is a principle that I use every single day. When I sit down every single morning, I have 1 primary objective that I'm going to work on. And for content creation, for example, right now, if I wake up on a Monday morning, I will say this morning, I'm going to spend 30 minutes to an hour writing an outline for my content, coming up with my hook, coming up with my introduction, and then doing research on the key points that I want to talk about. If I spend 30 minutes to an hour a day doing that, I can have a whole entire video concept from start to finish done in about 2 to 3 days. And then the fourth day, now I can start to think about the thumbnail. So that's one thing I'm going to work on that day, work on that for a day or two, spend a couple of hours on that. Then after that, everything is ready to film. And I do that on weekends. I will sit down on Saturday where I have more time, like today. It's Saturday evening. It's actually almost 1 a.m. And I will record this video. And then on Sunday, that's my one thing to do, is to edit the video and have the videos out and scheduled for the podcast. So I would not be able to do that if I was sitting down every single morning and looking at that whole entire workflow and saying, I have to outline, create a thumbnail, I have to make the video, I have to edit it, I have to do all of these things, and I don't know when I'm going to do it. And then I start working on this one and working on that one, and really never getting much done. But when I clearly identify the big items that are going to get me from start to finish and recording and posting, then focusing on one of those things every single day, the result is this: episodes every single week, consistently and not slacking. Step 4 in this plan is to map out your role as the hero. The concept of a hero is an interesting concept, and it's something that Donald Miller introduced me to. And when you read his book, Business Made Simple, or Building a Story Brand, or one of my favorite books, Hero on a Mission by Donald Miller, he talks about the concept that we all live life in a story. Life is one big story. And in every story, there's 4 elements. There is the hero, the victim, the villain, and the guide. We live our lives as each one of those things in some form or way or capacity. There are times when we play the hero, meaning that a hero wants something and the hero will go out and build the courage to get that thing. We sometimes live our lives as a victim, where we think that this world is out to get us and that there's nothing that we can do to change our fate. We live our life as a villain sometime, when you have ill will towards something or yourself. And we also can live our life as a guide, meaning that you become a person of knowledge, a person who now guides the person who's trying to be a hero in life. So when you think about life in that aspect, that you are living in a story, live your life as if you are the hero in your own story. Understand that there are 2 ways that you can live life. And this is a principle by Donald Miller from Hero on a Mission. You can choose to live life where you let life write your story, where you let fate write your story. And fate is actually a terrible writer. Or you can choose to co-write your life with fate and actually take action in writing your own story and deciding what kind of person you want to become and what kind of vision you want to accomplish and how you're going to craft your mission. As the hero in your own story, you are going to be thinking things like you need to be disciplined, you need to be optimistic, you need to be resilient. And a hero asks himself 3 questions. Who am I today? Who do I want to be in the future? And what's the one thing that I can do today to start moving? So when you watch a movie, very rarely do you see heroes that set a goal and then the rest of the movie is just them sitting around, not actually accomplishing the goal and not actually doing anything. You normally see a hero who wants something, but normally they don't have the skills yet. They don't even know how to get said thing. Then they meet a guide who then gives them the solution. The hero takes that solution. They go off, they fight some big battle, and they end up winning and succeeding, and they become the hero of the story and get what they want. So you have to ask yourself those 3 questions as if you are the hero of your own story. Who am I today? Who do I want to be at the end of 2025? Right? We talked about that. And what's the one thing that you can do to start moving today? And that's that big one that we talked about. So you can write a 1-pager. This is what I call a 1-pager because it's literally on a 1 page and it can be half a page. And this is something that you're going to look at every single day, or at least try to look at every single day. And it's an exercise that I try to do as well with my one pager for my life plan. Is I wake up in the morning. I don't always do it every single morning, but I try to wake up every morning and be the first thing that I read is that one pager. And on the one pager is a vision statement, which is 1 to 2 sentences about your dream life. So in this case, you can just make a vision statement for 2025 and where you want to be at the end of your 2025 and write 1 or 2 sentences about who you want to be. Then you outline your 4 big goals, or your 3 to 4 big goals in each one of those categories: your career, relationships, health, and your personal development. Write that down on your one pager. And then you're also going to write bullet points in the daily actions that you're going to take every single day to move towards those goals. What are the daily habits that you're going to do? Write that down on your one pager. And in 2 to 3 sentences, write down who you're going to become at the end of that journey. And when you read it every single day, an interesting thing happens is that you start to see yourself in that story. You start to see yourself as the hero on that journey, as the hero who's looking to conquer and develop those skills in order to accomplish that goal, in order to go on that odyssey, right? And accomplish that. So when you keep that vision at the forefront of your mind every single day, as often as you can, because an interesting thing about life is that things happen every single day. Something will happen at your job. You're going to be very stressed. Somebody's going to say something. Some drama is going to happen. Tragedy is going to happen in your life. All the elements that happen to every hero that we love in every story, right? And you get very distracted. When you get very distracted, it's very hard to think about your own story because you're so worried about all the other things that are happening. But when you decide that you're going to consistently read that one pager that we talked about and refer back to your goals and the 3 things that you're going to do every single day, it's just a reminder that, hey, this is the focus. I understand that everything else is going around, everything's important, but remember, you're a hero on a journey and you have to keep living the story, keep pushing the story forward. Never stop pushing the story forward, because if you stop pushing the story forward, you're allowing life to write the story for you, and you might not like how that's going to play out. Your dream life starts with a plan. You have to be strategic about it. You can't just think it. You have to actually put in the work. Raw action solves everything. Work every single day towards your mission and be smart about it. Watch part 2 to learn how to outwork, out-improve, out-strategize, and how to outlast and do things the smart way so that you can finally break through in 2025 and make your vision come true. Watch the video right here.